Today I want to talk about Mob Psycho Season 3, which I believe is a game changer. Mob Psycho Season 3 shifted the whole playing field for anime, and I think it's one of the greatest seasons in anime of all time. Before I get into that, if you like to see reviews and recaps on anime or other series, please subscribe to the channel. I do weekly videos and I don't think you want to miss. So Mob Psycho Season 3 is a game changer. I think that Mob Psycho is a very popular anime. It's a little niche, but the people that know about it tend to love it. I mean, it's growing in popularity, and I was actually surprised as I started making more videos about Mob Psycho that it's getting more and more attention. Season 3 for me completely changed the game, and here's why. Up until that point, I thought Mob Psycho was just a really good anime. It was in my top 10. Actually, it went between my second favorite anime to my third favorite anime. It vacillated back and forth. The animation was beautiful, the fight sequence was great, the characters were great, the development of each character, all of this was done amazing. But when you get Season 3, now it becomes a work of art. Why do I say that it becomes a work of art? Why did I think it was not a work of art before? You could argue that Mob Psycho was always legendary or a classic anime, but when it got to Season 3, they did something that a lot of shows, a lot of animes, a lot of just regular shows, think like Game of Thrones, Lost, Admin, you know, and more. Breaking Bad, even though most people tend to like Breaking Bad, with the end of Breaking Bad, which is what I'm talking about. Mob Psycho ended the series in a great way. Very difficult to end series or end stories. I think most people, when I say most people, I'm talking about like 90% of people are not good at ending the story. Mob Psycho ended the story in a brilliant way. Why do I say that they ended it in a brilliant way? Well, simply put, there was closure. There was such closure for so many characters in ways that were specific to so many different characters, meaning it didn't have to rely on Mob's like anime arc or his character arc, which, you know, and had one of the most beautiful moments. This is the moment where it hit me. There was moments throughout the whole season where I was realizing that this is such a great finale, but at the very end of the series, when Mob smiles for the first time, which we find out, I don't know about you, but for me, I realized when I saw his smile, this was the first time I was actually seeing Mob smile. And it hit me so hard because I'm like, that's right. That's what the whole show is about. Mob Psycho is about accepting who you are. And it takes you on a fun and wild adventure and getting to know these characters, getting to know Mob, getting to see who he was and how he grew and how he continued to push himself to be a better person and not just simply rely on his powers, but his powers are also who he is. See, that's the thing. It's kind of similar to The Dark Knight, how in the beginning, Batman or Bruce Wayne learns one style of approaching, you know, which is to suppress the fear. And then he has to come back to it and learn, no, you actually need that fear because that fear motivates you. It inspires you to jump higher, to go further, to keep fighting longer. You know, and it's the same. It's like Mob initially was suppressing who he was because he was afraid of letting that out and letting it hurt somebody. But then that's another beautiful moment in this series where the bad self, the out of control self says to Mob, I'm not the fake Mob. You're the fake Mob. You're the one who's wearing a mask. You are the mask. You are the one who's hiding who we really are. Don't call me the fake Mob. You're the fake Mob. I thought that was heavy. I thought that was deep. And I thought that was so important for Mob's development into understanding, one, he's not just a bad version of Mob. He's just the emotions of Mob. And I think that Reagan finally coming, you know, clean, even though it was understood. They knew. They had an understanding, but he never said it, which is so important. Sometimes things need to be said. Sometimes it's important to be completely vulnerable and transparent with somebody. The moment Reagan gave his speech to Mob was so beautiful. A moment of complete and total vulnerability. Show Mob that it's okay. It's okay to be who you are. It's okay to just stop hiding, stop suppressing, to accept every part of you, because it's wonderful, because it's a beautiful thing. I lost it. Reagan's speech made me lose it. And so a lot of people, I think, are not looking at it because in the previous seasons, it was a little bit more episodic. You know what I mean? There was like 2 or 3 episodes that were related, and then there was a final boss. But with this, they broke that format, and it became about closing the story arcs, the character arcs for each of the characters in so many amazing ways. Another favorite moment of mine for season 3 was the alien episode. Seems kind of like whatever, but they didn't need to close that arc. They didn't need to bring that to an end and give those characters closure, but they did. And they did it in such an amazing way. That episode was great. It reminds me of something like BoJack when he goes underwater, and it's just music and them acting out things. No one's talking, or at least the people that are talking you can't understand. It was a great episode. It was a great episode. And I think a lot of people, or the people that I've talked to that have had issue with the episode, had issue with the pacing, and they found it to be slow and boring. And if you're looking at it just as like one anime you haven't seen, like season 2 or season 3, I can totally understand you feeling that it's slow and boring, and it's not as exciting, even though there were still great fights, there were still great animated sequences. But if you don't understand the context or the stories that came from season 1 and 2, you definitely can't fully appreciate it. And when you take all the seasons into to count, that's when it becomes a work of art. It's a great story from start to finish. It was fun. It was beautifully done. The animation is insane. One thing that people don't talk about enough, in my opinion, is the soundtrack. Soundtrack is absolutely amazing. Like, so much fun, so exciting, so thrilling. It enhances each moment. I mean, the moment where Mob is feeling his emotions and they play that ba da 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 da, great melody. Another favorite moment, this is from season 2, is when Mob says, I want to decide what's important to me. When they tear up her story and he brings it all back together. There's just, Mob Psycho is just a brilliant series. It's a brilliant series. And I think more people need to watch it. I mean, it's great. Off the top of my head, I can't name any series that from start to finish is as good as Mob Psycho. You know, I mean, I have faith that One Piece is going to get there, but even within One Piece, there's moments where it's not as consistent as Mob Psycho. Mob Psycho, start to finish, complete work of art. And I think that you're only thinking about season 3 as those episodes. I can see why someone would not like it. I can see why people would consider season 2 to be the best episode of Mob Psycho. It was the most fun for sure. They definitely stepped it up from season 1 to season 2, but for me and the entire series, I think that season 3 makes it a complete work of art because it's about closure. I'm really big on anime characters and their development. I have problems with characters like season 1 Thorfinn, Sasuke, Eren Yeager at the beginning. I don't like characters that seem stuck. You know, to me, that's the whole point of watching a series. Life happens to you, whether good or bad, and then let's see how you deal with it. You know, I like characters like Boji. I like characters like Asta. I like characters like Naruto. You know, that's my style. I mean, I know it's not for everyone. Everyone can like whatever they like, but for me personally, I don't like characters who get stuck in what life has given them. That's why we watch anime. That's why I watch anime, to see people overcome their circumstances in their life. And I found the story of Mob, or Kageyama I should say, to be a beautiful story of someone learning to accept themselves, someone learning to love themselves. And I cannot express how good it is. You need to watch Mob Psycho. Obviously, don't start with season 3. Watch the whole thing. It's not a long watch. I think there are about 12 episodes in each season. You can get it done in a weekend. And I definitely think that you will have Mob Psycho in your top 10. And I think that you will agree with me that Mob Psycho season 3 took Mob Psycho from being a great anime to an absolute work of art. Those are my thoughts. And if you like this video, be sure to give us a like, a follow, and until the next time, stay casual.